Hey there, it's Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen. I am still continuing this little tarot tear that I'm on, and I'm doing a read for the new moon in Scorpio, which is happening on the 27th and the 28th. And yeah, like this last week has been super interesting. It's like a lot of things were kind of purged, we'll say, you know, like old structures were kind of knocked down, and then there's like new stuff that's coming up, and yeah, I think a lot of that's going to kind of surface with this new moon. That's the kind of general energies just I'm getting just like right off the bat. So that's a little segue into the reading. So some overarching energies. This is funny because we got the Three of Wands, which I actually tried to do this video earlier, and it, like, the cat ruined it. She's kind of settled down now, but she was just like jumping in front of the camera and being an exhibitionist. And yeah, so I had to start over. But it's funny because this card came out again. And then we have the Knight of Swords. So that's kind of the overarching energies. And you know, I think that's kind of like, this card is sort of like, you know, a card of waiting for your ships to come in. You're like waiting for an opportune moment. And then this Knight of Swords is kind of this swift acting knight that's kind of rash and just has this message of truth. It's kind of like just coming in out of nowhere with just this, basically it looks like kind of seizing his moment. So that's kind of the overall energy for the new moon in Scorpio, which, you know, it looks set to be like kind of the beginning of a new era, you know. So okay, so I'm gonna do a different deck today. So this deck is the Golden Universal Tarot, and basically it's like a Rider-Waite, but it's fancy because it's got gold in it. And of course mine's kind of been, it's pretty worn, so a lot of the gold's kind of rubbed off, but it's not quite as glamorous as it once was. But I think we should still get the message. This is my cat. Her name is Aiko, which means love in Japanese, little love kiddo. And yeah, as you can see, that's kind of her reason to be. So that's how her name came about. All right, let's pull some cards and see what we got going on for this new moon in Scorpio. Okay, interesting. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Swords, which is kind of a card of contemplation, which is interesting because it's like we have this whole waiting for this move. This knight comes in with this quick, you know, out of nowhere with just some sort of startling message, it looks like. And then we have the Seven of Cups, the Hanged Man, and the Emperor. And so yeah, this is interesting because it's almost like there's this Emperor who's been kind of like hanging back, just sort of in contemplation, just not really making a move, just kind of taking a step back and getting some perspective, because, you know, there's a little confusion around this situation, and it's like, you know, just trying to be thoughtful about how they're going to approach it, is how it looks leading up to this. So then on the bottom row, we have the Three of Swords, which is kind of like a heartbreak card. The Three of Cups, and then the Knight of Cups. So this is really interesting, you know, because we've got two threes here. We've got the Three of Swords and the Three of Cups. So it's almost like there was some sort of third-party situation that caused a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of drama. And so this Emperor has been sort of contemplating how maybe to resolve this situation for a while, and not really sure, you know, what the best way to handle it is, and just wanting to make, you know, the best move for everyone involved. And it looks like, so we have a Knight of Cups here, so it looks like he's maybe come to some sort of decision, because this is right under the Emperor, and it looks like he's come to some sort of decision about, you know, how this is going to go. And it, you know, given that this is our overarching energy, it looks like after like a lot of time contemplating and just sort of hanging back and like waiting, it looks like somebody's about to make a move, which is interesting because that's kind of what the cat just did. So I'm going to go back to this deck to get some advice. It's interesting that the Five of Cups is at the bottom because, you know, again, this is some sort of heartbreaking situation here, and you have the Two of Cups behind you. It's there just waiting for you to turn around, you know, but since you're really focused on this loss, you're not seeing this great, you know, abundance and love like right behind you, you know, because you're still focused on the loss. So it looks like, oh, and this just flew out, Three of Swords again, and the Five of Wands. So obviously there's been a lot of drama and a lot of conflict over this apparently third-party situation, which this Emperor has been contemplating for some time and not really sure, you know, what to do. But it looks like right now he's about to manifest a new beginning with regard to this situation, because he's sat back, he's thought about it, he's considered every, you know, every angle, and now looks like for this new moon in Scorpio, he's ready to like take some decisive action. Okay, come here, kitty. All right, so I'm gonna get 3 cards of advice about how we might handle this situation, because obviously it seems like there's a lot of parties involved, and yeah, you may be one of them. All right. Oh my gosh. Crazy. All right. Well, this final card came out, which this is pretty wild. Okay, so, you know, on the advice card, we have this Knight of Pentacles, which is kind of like a slow, methodical approach. And what's interesting is that this card came out again, the Three of Swords, which is the heartbreak card, which obviously there's been some really painful third-party situation that has really caused a lot of chaos, a lot of drama. It looks like it's been going on for some time, because look what else came out again. The Hangman. So it looks like, yeah, this situation has caused like really a lot of drama for a really long time, and it looks like we're set to have some kind of change in this situation for the new moon in Scorpio. And it's like the King of Wands again, like this is someone who, you know, this is like a passionate king, you know, a man of like authority and taste, and but you know, someone who takes action, you know. So there's like, there's obviously been a lot of thought that's gone into this, and you know, we've just been kind of taking a slow approach. But it's interesting because there's obviously some sort of decisive action that's set to happen here, but I'm not really, I'm not really getting a lot of clarity on what that is. So let me just pull a couple more cards and see if I can get some kind of insight into what this decisive action that's going to happen for the new moon in Scorpio might be. Okay. It's like kind of climactic, but it's just like... All right. Okay. So this is interesting because I get the 9 of Wands, which is like everyone's at the end of their rope. Like, we need some kind of resolution to this, you know, like this is the wounded warrior, like, you know, we're done with the situation, but like we just gotta like kind of pull through. Like, it's the 9th hour, like can this be over already? And then we pulled out the Lovers card, which is, you know, kind of like a decision, you know, so a decision's being made and a cycle's ending. So some kind of long-standing cycle with regard to this situation is about to come to an end, and somebody's wish is coming true. So apparently this has to do with the decisive action that might take place for the new moon in Scorpio. So this is really interesting because if you go back and look at all the readings from last week, you know, there's a lot of drama happening where, you know, truths are being told, and, you know, there's a fairy tale ending for somebody, but, you know, there's obviously people out there who are not happy about it, and there's a lot of drama around this, and it all looks set to climax around the new moon in Scorpio. So yeah, it's pretty wild, pretty dramatic. Let me see if I can get some a card of guidance from the Sacred Traveler Oracle deck, because yeah, like I was saying in some of the readings from last week, it's just sort of like, I'm old. Like, this is kind of the time when you just want to like stay home and like stay out of the fray, because yeah, it looks like some kind of climax is in the works right now. But at the end of the day, it looks like, you know, the tables are being turned, and, you know, karma is kind of being set straight. So I think, you know, ultimately this is probably all changes for the better. It's just a little messy on the way there. So, okay, so the guidance card we have is Infinite Abundance. So abundance is pouring into your life. So this is good, you know, because obviously there have been some bad karma situations that have been holding a lot of people back. And, you know, some people are going to be unhappy about these changes, but it looks like it kind of needs to happen. And then we have this in the flow. So as long as you can kind of stay centered and stay balanced and just kind of stay in the flow and just sort of move through this situation, like, that's probably going to be your best advice, you know? I mean, just accept that things are going to have to change, and, you know, just try to just move through it. Don't get too attached to dramatics, and, you know, just kind of let that stuff flow through. And at the end of it, we'll have this new beginning based on abundance and prosperity. So best of luck to you, and we'll see you later.